had to sneak one pull in there. Gotta give the people what they want. Fuck. Oh God. I can't wait to fully wring this thing's neck out. Okay. We are live. First impressions of the Mustang. And I may look ridiculous, but we're finally in it, and we finally get to give our first drive impressions. Why don't we hold this moment though for a second, and I'll catch up when we get into a better road to enjoy the scenery and the driving experience, because we just pulled out of the dealer and we got to get to a better spot to really well, we're not gonna over rev it, right? We're still in the break-in period, right? It's got what, 16 miles on it, so we're gonna take a moment to go easy on it and get used to it so we don't find ourselves in a ditch before we give it our first impression. So I'll catch up in a bit. Well, it certainly seems like we picked the wrong day to do this, but it's overdue. To pick up where we left off, you last saw me driving out of the dealer from Sunnyvale Ford. So I said I was going to go do my first drive later on. That wasn't exactly true. A couple things got in the way. In the interest, I guess, of my best interest and your best interest. First off, my best interest. I went ahead and got the car paint protection filmed and ceramic coating. Paint protection film on the front half, ceramic coating on the back half, because I realized after seeing the gorgeous paint, by the way, this is a fighter jet gray Mach 1, I decided I wanted to keep it in immaculate condition, so I went ahead and did that. Now, in your best interest, this is actually my third or fourth take of doing a first drive. Some have been in different locations, but the main reason why I've had to retake this so many times is for one thing or the next, right? For one take, the GoPro seemed to be just staring at the roof of the car, which didn't make for very entertaining footage. Other two times, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so we'll actually see if this one works. I really wanted the audio to be good, so I've actually rigged up an audio, I guess, capture on the exhaust, so hopefully you can hear it in all of its glory. I guess also in that regard, I had issues with the GoPro. I think the issue was that it was registering wind noise, so I went ahead and turned that filter off, so it kind of like was constantly adjusting the gain and how it was compressing the audio. So hopefully, what is this? I don't know, fourth or fifth time's the charm, and we can do our first drive impressions. So let's start with introducing me. Well, I guess I'm not going to disclose my name yet, but I do. Well, I guess enough people know my name. My name's Brian, and this is my 2022 Mustang Mach 1. Background of me is I'm actually a car designer. In my case, I actually work for Ford Motor Company, hence why you see this Mustang here. I'm just kidding. It's actually a fantastic car, and I'd be interested in it, you know, whether I was an employee or not. More about me is I actually don't. I mean, I have a background and interest in cars, but I guess where this car comes from is, well, it's a stepping stone. Well, I mean, it's the final stepping stone, in all honesty, in my journey to, I guess, get a car to hold on to for a very long time. You know, me being in the industry, I know that gas cars are limited in their days, soon to go extinct, right? So in that regard, I decided I would get a car that I felt like I could hold on to in the future. For when I get old, I still have some car to, you know, enjoy, I guess, the way things were back in the golden age. I mean, we don't know it now, but we're actually in another golden age of cars. The level of engineering that we have in gas-powered cars today is, I think, something that's going to be really treasured as we go forward. Not to say that electric doesn't have its merits and it's, you know, not better in many other ways, but for the sake of a driving enthusiast car, right? And I am an enthusiast after all. You know, it's hard to, you know, beat a naturally aspirated V8 with a 6-speed manual down here. So yeah, as I mentioned, I came from a 228i M Sport from BMW. I came from a BMW family. Obviously I have love for the brand. Not much love for the new pig nose design language that they seem to be attached to. I mean, we've all seen Angry Birds. That's essentially what they look like. And they even have a green-yellow color for the, I think it's M3 or M4, to fully make the reference. But so yeah, I came from a 2014 228i. First impressions. Well, comparing to that, obviously there's no getting around the V8 in terms of what it does in a straight line, but also, most importantly, the noise it makes. I love the sound of cars. I love the sound of a V8. I love the look of this car. But if you wanted to keep a low profile, you know, forget it, right? When I pull up to a stop sign, and if I forget about the auto rev matching in this car, everyone notices. Like, they look at you, and if you have a stupid GoPro strapped to your head like I do, well, people are gonna see that, all right? So, you know, if you want to be seen, great. If you don't want to be seen and you generally like to just keep to yourself, not as great. I mean, but for this pure, I guess, orchestral sounds of the car, it's fantastic. It just comes, you know, with baggage. This is a 2022 handling pack, or I guess track pack. I'm not exactly sure which. Mach 1. So I think it's just kind of like the iconic Mach 1 fighter jet gray track pack. It's just, you know, the culmination of the I guess S550 5-liter Mustang, and it is just gorgeous. And from what I can tell so far, I have been babying the car during its break-in period. It will be fantastic for on the track. Speaking of which, my other background with cars is during COVID, I picked up sim racing as a hobby, and then that hobby took itself too far. I ended up, you know, really grinding that out. For those of you who know, Assetto Corsa Competizione, I spent a lot of time racing GT3s, in that, you know, well, I mean, all the cars that they have to offer. But what that led me to was developing, I guess, an affinity for driving fast, I guess. I competed in a little bit of esports, and I guess the goal with this car is, I thought I was over performance cars, but getting into sim racing, I kind of reignited like my enjoyment for that. And so I plan very heavily to make some videos using this car on track. And I'd say more importantly, maybe making a lot of comparison from, you know, the sim to the real life performance driving. So I guess that like leads me to the next point. What is this channel going to be about? Well, like, the full disclaimer off the bat is this isn't going to be a channel for, you know, chasing clicks, is the best way to see it, or say it. I'm going to hold on to this car forever, as far as I can tell. And I'm not going to be selling it to buy the new next hot topic, you know, car release. And then, you know, the second part of that is I'm definitely not going to be, you know, modifying it. I don't know if there's like tiny tasteful things that can be done, but as far as I can tell, you know, not going to touch it. It's cool that a Mustang can, you know, with a couple bolt-ons reach like 700, you know, horsepower. But I'd say, you know, if we're talking about holding on to a car for a very long time, yeah, pardon me as I, you know, go through the legion of car enthusiasts with a GoPro strapped to my head. Eee, lots of eyes on me. All right, back to the point. Yeah, so, well, a 700 horsepower Mustang, which is thoroughly, you know, very doable, sounds cool. I don't think you know, it's something that ages well. Performance is always going to be, you know, getting better and better. But when you look at like a classic Mustang today, you don't want something that's heavily modified, you know? So clapping out a Mustang to do ungodly amounts of power is cool today, but if I want a car that's just kind of authentic for its time and authentic for what it stands for in the future, I think it's just best to keep it, you know, as it came. So that's the other part. Like you're not gonna see videos of me modding, you know, turbocharger, supercharger, none of that. All right, it's just gonna be about the car and what we can do with it. Well, to extrapolate, it's going to be, I guess, about the car, but it's going to be about cars in general. I like sim racing. If you see, I guess, the only other video on my channel, it's a recollection of my first year doing sim racing, from being a terrible driver to competing in esports. So I think there's going to be a lot of content that, you know, bridges that gap between, you know, sim racing and sim driving to real life driving, see how much of the skills translate, see if I guess got it on both sides of the coin. Oh, I think this car's trying to let me by, but I'm not gonna. Okay, there we go. Very nice of you, sir. All right, we got some open road. Don't want to speed too much, but because I don't want to get pulled over. That would be a harsh interruption to this video. But I'm actually due to wrap it up. I'll probably cut to some other shots of, you know, I guess the car, and maybe maybe just some driving without any audio, because I wouldn't say I have the best voice here. But yeah, to wrap up, it's going to be about cars. You can count on that. Whether it's sim racing, whether it's design, because, you know, I have a background there, talking about why I chose this car over the new one, because as an employee, I got to see, you know, a little bit of the sneak peeks early, so you might be wondering why I didn't wait for the next gen. Long story for another time. Maybe going to some Cars and Coffee and just doing some fun sketching and whatnot. I'd say the only thing that ties together my interests, my goal, is as a creative, right, as I mentioned, I'd say that this is kind of more of a creative outlet, right? I like high production stuff. If you look at that video I mentioned, I spent a lot of effort, you know, stitching it together with the editing, the camera angles, seeing how high I could push the production quality of that video. I think, you know, with exception to, you know, POV just drives and explanations like this, I'm going to be shooting for the highest production quality that I can get, whether it's be track driving, cinematic videos, and whatnot. So I'll leave it here. Welcome into the channel. And I don't know. Let's see where this takes us. All right, thanks.